Welcome to this audiobook, a book that is not meant to be merely heard, but to awaken your thoughts, deepen your perspective, and perhaps even slightly change the direction of your thinking. In a world where speed has replaced depth and sounds surround us from every direction, mindful listening is a choice to pause, to reflect, and to build a better version of ourselves. This audiobook is the result of ideas, experiences, and lessons that can inspire. Not to tell you what to do, but to help you see more clearly and make better decisions for yourself. We recommend listening to this audiobook with an open mind and without haste. Sometimes a single sentence, when heard at the right moment, can change years of our lives. Thank you for dedicating your valuable time to this work. We hope this voice becomes a good companion on your journey of intellectual and personal growth. 0 to 1 by Peter Thirl. Full title, 0 to 1. Notes on Startups or How to Build the Future. Based on notes by Blake Masters. Published 2014. Core idea. The central message of 0 to 1 is great companies create something entirely new, going from 0-1, rather than copying what already exists, going from 1N. Null N is innovation, creating new technology or new markets. 1SR equals globalization, replicating existing ideas. Thirl argues that true progress comes from breakthroughs, not imitation. Detailed summary by major themes. Pyramid, vertical progress versus horizontal progress. Horizontal progress, 1N, copying things that work. Example, opening more fast food chains in new cities. Vertical progress, 0-1, creating something fundamentally new. Example, the first smartphone or the first search engine. Thirl believes the future is built by companies that invent new categories, not those that compete in crowded markets. 2. Monopoly versus competition. Thirl makes a controversial claim: competition is for losers. He argues, in perfect competition, companies make very small profits. In monopolies, companies can earn large profits and invest in innovation. But he doesn't mean illegal monopolies. He means companies that dominate a niche because they are so good and unique. Example, Google dominates search because it's vastly better than alternatives. Characteristics of a good monopoly: proprietary technology, 10 times better. Network effects, economies of scale, strong branding. 3. The power law. Thirl explains that venture capital follows a power law. A small number of companies produce most returns. Most startups fail or return little. For example, in a VC portfolio of 10 startups, one may produce more value than the other 9 combined. This means investors must aim for companies with huge upside. Entrepreneurs should aim to build massive businesses, not small incremental ones. 4. Secrets, finding hidden truths. Thirl asks, what important truth do very few people agree with you on? He believes successful startups are built on secrets. Truths that are true, unknown, or ignored by others. There are 2 types: natural secrets, scientific discoveries; human secrets, business or social insights. Startups must discover and act on secrets. 5. Last mover advantage. Most people talk about first mover advantage. Thirl talks about last mover advantage. The goal isn't to be first. It's to be the last major company in a market, meaning no one can replace you. Example, Facebook wasn't the first social network, but it became dominant long-term. 6. The importance of founders. Thirl believes strong founders are essential. He discusses visionary leadership, clear long-term plans, small, committed founding teams. He contrasts definite optimism, planning and building the future intentionally; indefinite optimism, hoping things will improve without planning. Silicon Valley thrives on definite optimism. 7. Start small and dominate. Thirl advises, start with a small niche market. Dominate it completely. Expand gradually. Example, Amazon started with books before expanding into everything. Why? easier to win a small market, easier to build monopoly power, allows strong foundation before scaling. 8. Sales and distribution matter. Thirl argues that if you've invented something new but you haven't invented an effective way to sell it, you have a bad business. Many engineers underestimate sales, marketing, distribution. Even superior technology fails without strong distribution. 9. Technology in the future. Thirl believes technology has slowed outside software. We need breakthroughs in energy, biotech, transportation, and more. He criticized society for being risk-averse, focused on finance and law instead of engineering. The 7 questions every startup must answer. Thirl says every great company answers. Engineering question: is your tech breakthrough 10 times better? Timing question: is now the right time? Monopoly question: are you starting with a big share of a small market? People question: do you have the right team? Distribution question: how will you deliver your product? Durability question: will your position last 10 to 20 years? Secret question: have you identified a unique opportunity? Criticisms of the book. Some critics argue monopolies can reduce competition and harm consumers. The entrepreneurs who stuck with Silicon Valley learned 4 big lessons from the dot-com crash that still guide business thinking today. 1. Make incremental advances. Grand visions inflated the bubble, so they should not be indulged. Anyone who claims to be able to do something great is suspect, and anyone who wants to change the world should be more humble. Small, incremental steps are the only safe path forward. 2. Stay lean and flexible. All companies must be lean, which is code for unplanned. You should not know what your business will do. Planning is arrogant and inflexible. Instead, you should try things out, iterate, and treat. Entrepreneurship is agnostic experimentation. 3. Improve on the competition. Don't try to create a new market prematurely. The only way to know you have a real business is to start with an already existing customer, so you should build your company by improving on recognizable products already offered by successful competitors. 4. Focus on product, not sales. If your product requires advertising or salespeople to sell it, it's not good enough. Technology is primarily about product development, not distribution. Bubble-era advertising was obviously wasteful, so the only sustainable growth is viral growth. These lessons have become dogma in the startup world. Those who would ignore them are presumed to invite the justified doom visited upon technology in the great crash of 2000, and yet the opposite principles are probably more correct. 1. It is better to risk boldness than triviality. 2. A bad plan is better than no plan. 3. Competitive markets destroy profits. 4. Sales matters just as much as product. It's true that there was a bubble in technology. The late 90s was a time of hubris. People believed in going from 0 to 1. Too few startups were actually getting there, and many never went beyond talking about it. But people understood that we had no choice but to find ways to do more with less. The world market high of March 2000 was obviously a peak of insanity. Less obvious, but more important, it was also a peak of clarity. People looked far into the future, saw how much valuable new technology we would need to get there safely, and judged themselves capable of creating it. The book oversimplifies complex markets. Not all industries allow 10 times innovation. Still, the book is widely considered one of the most influential startup books of the last decade. Key takeaways: build something new, not a copy. Aim for monopoly, not competition. Start small, then scale. Look for secrets. Now that we have reached the end of this audiobook, you may not have found answers to all your questions, and that is completely natural. The purpose of this work was not to provide definitive answers, but to plant the seeds of curiosity, awareness, and reflection in your mind. What you have heard becomes truly valuable only when it finds its way into your real life. into your decisions, into how you see yourself and others, and into the choices you make each day. Remember, great changes often begin with small but consistent thoughts. If even a single sentence from this book calls you to pause, reflect, or act differently, then this book has fulfilled its purpose. Thank you sincerely for staying with this voice until the end. We hope that what you have heard is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of a new movement in your life. So thank you for watching, and good luck, my friends.